How's it going, Andrew?
Hey, Matt, what's going on?
The usual. Trying to get ready for Christmas. Craziness with the family.
Gobble, 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 gobble. Wait, hold on.
Oh, we're past that
La,
one.
la, 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 la.
Yeah, that's appropriate now because we're past Thanksgiving.
Okay, sorry, I got
past
confused.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, what kind of Christmas plans you got coming up?
Saturday, we're going over to my parents' house. And then on Christmas Day proper, we're going down to Olivia's grandma's like we usually do. So spend the whole day there. We have a really cool tradition now. It's only 2 or 3 years old that we started. But at Thanksgiving, we all put our names in a hat and everybody draws a name. And whoever's name you draw, you have to buy a book for.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then it's like it's not super expensive to buy books either. So it's a nice little gift and everything. Books are great.
Yep. No, it's been a great tradition. And I'm always curious who has me and what kind of book I'm going to end up getting. So...
My only Christmas tradition that I can remember is we go to my parents and we open presents, and then we have about a half an hour before we need to get into a car and drive to Illinois.
Nice.
So you'd be like, I got an Xbox. And can I play it? Like, get in the car. We're going to Illinois for the Christmas party.
I lucked out this year. I drew my daughter's name.
Oh, perfect. Kids book done.
Yep. She's been into Clifford the Big Red Dog movie. So I figure I'll get some Clifford books. And
you could get a Clifford toy with it too, like a doll.
No, I'm just supposed to get her a book.
You're the dad. You can do whatever you want. You can put that on one of your side presents for yourself.
She gets a lot of gifts and toys and stuff. So actually what I've been doing for all of her birthdays and stuff, like Olivia will typically buy like a gift at this point, right? That's from both of us. Well, what I've been doing instead is I've just been putting money in an investment account for her, so that we can start building up some future stuff. So each one of her birthdays and Christmas, I've been throwing money in there, and then I usually set up a weekly automatic withdrawal to add to it, $5 a week or whatever, just to start building her something for the future.
It's like the Acorn app and stuff like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I use Stash. So.
Yep. Hey, we're not sponsored by Acorn or Stash, but they're fun.
Yep. So what are you doing this year for Christmas?
So hold on, I have an idea. If PETA is listening, earmuffs. What if you got Zoe a dog and spray painted it red?
I don't think that's a good idea.
What if you spray painted your dog red?
I also definitely think that's not a good idea.
All right, fine. We'll table that for now. We'll come back to it.
No, there's no tabling. That motion is dismissed.
Let's just let it have some time to soak in and resonate.
Nope.
All right, PETA, you can take your earmuffs off now.
How would they hear you tell them to take their earmuffs off if they had earmuffs on?
Honestly, I'd prefer them to keep their earmuffs on anyways.
Fair enough.
This year's Christmas, easy as pie. We're not doing anything because with the baby on the way, it's right in that window. So we are not going to any Christmas parties. We're not leaving the state. We might go to my parents' house briefly before they leave. We're just vibing. We're just waiting for a baby to happen.
That'll be fun.
I mean, I'm kind of sad. Claire's like, we're not doing Christmas decorations because I want the house to be like clean and I don't want to deal with them. And I was like, man, fine.
Andrew, I will be honest with you. Once that baby's here, you will appreciate having made that decision.
Yeah, I believe it.
Because you're not going to be wanting to pull them all down.
Yeah, they'll just stay up the rest of the year. Yeah, so it's fine. I mean, I'm actually honestly, Christmas can be kind of a pain in my butt sometimes with the amount of stuff you got to do. So it's kind of nice to take a year where you can relax.
Well, and this is the perfect year for you to relax because you got a kiddo on the way. You think those holidays are crazy now.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're going to be managing, next Christmas, you're going to be managing somewhat close, if not a 1-year-old.
Yep.
That makes the holidays a lot harder. So
yeah, and I mean, I'm a little sad I don't go see the family. I like going down to Illinois and doing the Christmas party and all that kind of good stuff. And I'll see what I can sneak in that's closer to home. But they'll still be there next year. So
right, and sometimes a little time of self-reflection and relaxation is what everybody needs.
Time makes the heart grow fonder. Right, you'll get more excited for next year.
Right.
Cool. Well, let's kick this puppy off with a nice year-end recap.
Loosen up your ties and roll up your sleeves. It's time for Fellowship with Matt and Andrew. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the Grand Lodge of Wisconsin or any other Grand Lodge or any appended body.
All right. So we thought it'd be cool now that we're approaching the end of the year it's a good time for reflection. It's a good time to go over what happened this year.
Right. And let's put it out there for our listeners right now. This will be our last episode of 2023. There will not be an episode in between Christmas and New Year's. We're going to take a little break, and we'll talk to you again in the new year after this one.
Yep. And do we call that season 2?
No, we're not on season 2 yet. I feel like you have to have at least, 25 episodes before you could do like a season break.
The Mandalorian only had like 12.
Or do we want to? That's true. But The Mandalorian is not a podcast.
I mean, honestly, when podcasts have seasons to begin with, I don't really understand it.
I don't either, actually.
I think if you did it by year, it makes the most sense. We're like, this was the first year. This was the second year.
It would make sense. Maybe that's a conversation we need to have because we haven't really decided if we're going to do by seasons or if we're just going to keep that episode count rolling.
What if we just skip to season 3 just to blow people's minds?
Just to mess with people?
Yeah, they're like, where was season 2?
Go 1, 3, 5, 7.
Oh. Yeah, so we're going to give people a break and ourselves a break to be with our families and loved ones and, all that craziness. And you guys shouldn't listen to us during that time anyways. Listen to your family and all that good stuff and be present. So we'll take a little break there. But so a lot's happened this year.
A lot has. And real quick, before we get into the meat and potatoes here.
Potatoes and meats.
Just like to do this at the beginning of the episode for once instead of the end. Make sure you are following us on Facebook, Instagram, X, or emailing us at timeforfellowship@gmail.com.
Timeforfellowship@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys, so don't be bashful.
Right. And I know you're going to be sitting in a family function, scrolling through your phone at some point. So, when you're scrolling there, looking at Facebook, just go ahead and find the page and give us a follow.
Yep. And when you're feeling like you miss us because there's no episode that week and you're going to be like, man, where are my boys at? You can find us there. We'll be posting content probably.
Right. Probably. Probably get a few things out there. All right. So back to today's actual topic. Andrew, how are you feeling about 2023? Not just this podcast, but the year in general.
I had a really fun year this year. Very eventful. It's hard to even think about all the things that I packed into a year. Being junior or senior deacon this year was a blast. That chair is super fun.
Love that chair.
We had a lot of fun degree work this year. I went to Mexico for the first time, which was cool.
Awesome.
I am having a baby throughout this year, so that's a really interesting experience to go through. More for my wife than me, probably. I feel like I've really learned a lot this year too. Something about being the senior deacon. I feel like a lot of the operations of the lodge are within view. So you really start to learn how it's all kind of functioning and how it's put together before you move up into a position of leadership too. So I feel like I feel like I fast forward in age. I feel like I'm an older man now.
Right. I understand exactly what you mean by that, feeling that way. I came out of that senior deacon's chair feeling a lot more wise than I was before I went into it.
A lot of revolutions around the sun.
Right. Yeah. And there's, you start increasing in your Masonic knowledge and stuff like that. But even just as a whole, I feel like my senior deacon, much like your senior deacon year, happened to line up in a somewhat formative point in the rest of our life too. So it was just really, when I was in that chair, and for you as well, obviously, it was like a really formative year for me just as a man in general. I mean, my wife was pregnant while I was senior deacon.
Yeah, this is so weird.
Yeah, right. Your wife's pregnant while you're senior. My kid was born 3 months before I became junior warden. Your kid's going to be born right after you became junior warden. So, it's a very interesting point in time to have a lot of different things colliding. But it really makes you understand how to use your time better when all that stuff kind of starts happening there. And
it's when the 24-inch gauge finally slaps you in the face.
Yep.
Hey, you need this. Take some time and learn to say no and guard your time for your family's sake, but also so that you can give your best foot forward for your lodge too. Because, it's only then when you actually, who was a brother was saying to me the other day, he's like, this is going to be the time that changes everything, because this is the first time you have someone that is 100% going to be you're responsible for it.
Yeah.
If you die in a car crash, that's going to affect someone else immensely.
Right.
And like, when you think about like, my wife's a working woman. So like if I were to die, she would be fine. Or like if I were to make a mistake, she could, she'd be sad, but
right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, this is the eye-opening moment where like your presence on this earth has never been more important than when you have a child. And I was like, oh God. I was like, oh my God.
I'm going to tell you right now, that first drive home from the hospital, that kid in the car, is the most nerve-wracking drive of your life.
I'm so scared. Kind of.
It is. No, it's exciting, but like seriously, like anybody makes one tiny little move wrong on the road and you're like, ah,
Papa Bear gonna kill you.
Yep. Certain things change for you, and you'll notice ramped up sense of like situational awareness and stuff like that for quite a while.
Obviously it's scary. But I'm also kind of looking forward to it too, in the way like it's actually kind of an interesting time to transition from a deacon to a senior warden at that time too, because likewise as your personal life is getting a lot more responsibility, so is your lodge life, and you have to learn to take charge and take leadership.
Or not.
He tried to sneeze and failed. I'm not even cutting that. So, yeah, like it's like, switching the gears of the mindset of like, you need to take ownership, of your household and, the portions of your lodge at the same time. So it's kind of an interesting way to have it happen, I guess.
Right. Besides the fact that you have a baby on the way, what are you most proud of from 2023? What's your most proud accomplishment? Masonically or personally? Or both? You always ask the hard-hitting questions.
I know.
No, I got two for once.
I don't like when they come back on me. Honestly, like, I feel like at Lodge, I really stepped up this year in a lot of ways, in a lot of various aspects too. And, I also help with the Wisconsin Masonic Journal as well now. So I feel like I'm kind of proud that my hard work has started to shine a little bit, and that even outside of Lodge.
Foundation, right? Not
Dear God. Yeah, this is the journal on my other screen. Yeah, on the Wisconsin Masonic Foundation, helping with their social media and stuff. So it kind of feels like some of that hard work is starting to really bear fruit, where people are noticing, what I'm all involved in and what my skills are. And that feels kind of good. In my personal life, I'm proud that I made it through a season of hurling without throwing out my back as a 30-something-year-old. That's always a good W. And to actually, exercise like a young man again kind of felt really invigorating. And then, I'm just proud of how far my family's come as well and where we're going. And that's the thing is it becomes all baby talk because that's all that you're focused on too. So it ends up pulling a lot of your attention, where it's like, when you get annoyed at people like, God, this guy's only talking about his baby all the time. And you're like, well, that's the only thing that he's thinking about because it's got a lot going on.
Right. And most of us that, especially those of us that have like more recently had a child. Yeah, I remember when I was at the point is like, man, people have babies and that's all they do is talk about having a baby and, this or that or, what their kid's doing or whatever. And then I had one and I became one of those people that was all they talked about. And rightfully so, though. I mean.
Well, and that's a testament to how your priorities, like your consciousness kind of changes focus. And yeah, it's inevitable. And so, yeah, you guys, listeners, you're stuck going to be hearing about babies for at least a month more, probably before I settle in. So, because that's going to be really the biggest dramatic change too.
Right.
So if you didn't have kids, I'm sorry I'm sorry you have to listen to me.
I think, I think this type of conversation though, it's good for two people who like, in my case, I have like a 2-year-old, like, and it's fun for me to be able to impart some of this wisdom on somebody like, so when I still remember what it was like in the beginning. Because somebody who's like an 18-year-old at home might not really remember what it was like in those first few months. But.
At least, or they'll remember it in fragments.
Right.
Yep. Well, that's one thing that's cool about this fraternity too, how we always talk about one of the benefits is in mentorship. And the fact that we have brethren from various walks of lives, various ages, various experiences. The amount of like advice I've been given, like someone was like, hey, you're going to be going to the hospital, bring a fire stick. And I was like, well, that's very specific. He's like, do you want to watch crappy cable or do you want to watch your show? And I was like, this is helpful. I can actually make action on this. And little things like that, you know, we spent a lot of time talking about the lore within Masonry, but, you know, there's also the beauty in just the fraternity itself having so much wisdom within its people and experiences that can be super helpful, where so many brethren have reached out like, hey, if you have questions, if you have this, just call me and we can go through it and I can let you know kind of what to expect and this and that. And so it's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's nice to, you know, and I think that's part of what makes not just Freemasonry, but fraternal organizations special, where you have this group of men who are willing to share their experiences and stuff like that, and, you know, go into what they maybe did right, what they maybe did wrong, what they wish they would have done better, and, you know, help other men get through whatever life event they're going through by having those conversations.
I remember telling someone, they were like, what's one thing that you like about Masonry? And I was like, well, yesterday I walked into Lodge with 2 insurance policies and I slammed them on a table and said, hey, past masters, which one's better? And then I had like, it's like the open the pickle jar situation where all these guys are reading like, these both suck. And I'm like, all right, thank you. But which one? Because they've gone through this. Right. Whereas I'm like, I don't know. There's so much words on this. And then you'll find that suddenly all these brothers put their heads together like, this one's probably going to be a little better for you. And I was like, you know, a lot of people don't have that resource.
Right. No, a lot of people don't. And having those resources is important, you know.
And it's, I don't know, it's cool. I like it.
It is. I do too. I like it quite a bit. We did quite a bit this year. Holy cow, did we. Oof.
It was busy.
It was a busy year. I mean,
yeah, Grant did a good job this year. He really held on to it was a busy year to be master, and next year's going to be another busy year to be master. So buckle up, Buttercup.
What are you talking about? It's not going to be a busy year at all. And nobody in the room is master. I don't know what you're talking about.
No one's been looking at the journal and seeing half the journal is Lake Lodge events.
We do have a lot of flyers out there for a lot of cool stuff. I am honestly really, really excited. I think 2023 was a great year.
It's a good year.
We did a lot of good stuff, but I think it like ended on the right note. For me personally, installation day, like just started off on the right foot, like right away. I had to set a goal weight for myself to be down to by installation day. And I stepped on the scale that morning and nailed it on the head.
Perfect.
And then, you know, I got to Lodge super early, took some time for self-reflection and stuff like that, and figured out that our building's haunted.
What happened, by the way?
So I was in there and I was just kneeling at the altar, taking my time to just kind of take everything that was about to be the moment to come in. And obviously, as, you know, any man should before any great undertaking, I was, you know,
have a little prayer time.
Yeah. It sounded like there was somebody in the building. Like it sounded like somebody sniffing like constantly. And I was the only one here. And like it got to the point where it had gone on so long that I actually like stopped my self-reflection time and went and walked around to make sure nobody was in the building with me.
What do you mean by sniffing? Like,
yep. It was super strange.
So I always have this weird thing that's not haunting, but always makes me scared in the building. When I'm in the kitchen, there's that mirror at the other end, and you'll see from the corner of your eye someone move, and it's you. And then I jump out of my pants.
Yep. I remember that. Yep. I had that happen a few times. But yeah, this one was really strange. And I mean, I hadn't really lit up the lodge room all that much. Like I just had the light on over the altar, the G in the east, and the little sign with the square and compasses on. That was...
Dude, rookie move, dude. I always, when I come in this building by myself, every light's on in every room.
No, I specifically, I had put the holy writings out on the altar, and I had, you know, my hat on the altar with me, and I specifically only wanted those lights on for a reason.
Yeah, but that's how you get ghosts, dude.
Right. Well, it makes for a fun story still, too.
Yeah, that's how you get sniffling ghosts with a cold.
Sniffling ghost. Either that or it was an old past master, you know, in the corner shedding a tear. You never know.
Depends on the sniff.
Right.
Oh, my God. Chill out, dude.
Right. Come on, man. I'm just trying to pray.
Yeah, I don't know. Why does every lodge think their building is haunted?
Because they probably are. And Jason put it to me this way. He said to me, he goes, when I told him about it, he goes, well, why wouldn't you want to go back to your happy place to hang out with your brothers?
There you go.
Like, I'm like,
Mystic time.
all right, that's fair.
Yeah, it gets creepy in here. I hate when I'm here by myself, but I do it all the time. And I just like wander around, I don't even keep my peripheral vision wide. I'm just like, focus on what I'm doing.
Tunnel vision, get to where you go, do what you got to do.
There's a creepy past master standing behind me. I don't want to know about it. I'm just gonna, even if it's a living past master who creeped up behind me, I don't want to know about it. I'm just gonna keep on my task.
Right. And so besides that little thing, that part of it went really well. And then it just rolled into everybody started showing up. I was almost done setting up. We got last minute little things out of the way, looking at the script and trying to figure out how to do a couple things. And it all worked out really well. I thought the ceremony went really well. And
it's cool.
The after party was great. Mary did a great job taking care of us.
She always does.
With the food. The food was awesome. And, it was well attended. And I really feel like it was a good way to start, the next Masonic year. And it was a good way to kind of, even though it was, only December 9th, it was a good way to close out 2023.
It's funny about installations. So when I went to annual, when Paul was being installed as Grand Master, and we had the dancing and all this stuff, I said this felt like a wedding to Masonry. And now I can't stop seeing it. So like when you're up there, you're like, oh, here's the ceremonial part, but we all just want to go to the party, am I right? And I'm like, this is just a wedding to Masonry. Matt just got married to Masonry. Now he's a past master.
Yeah, but it came with an awesome hat and an awesome gavel, so I'll take it.
Put your tuxes on, just like a wedding. I can't get it out of my head. I'm like, all these weddings this year. Everyone's getting married to Masonry again.
It was expensive, just like a wedding.
Yeah. Yep. You can always have the choice on how much you want to spend, but you always overspend because you want to make it like a nice affair.
To put it in perspective, it was nowhere near as expensive as a wedding, but
That's because if you tell someone it's a wedding, they put that price tag boost up on
it. Right. Yeah.
Yep.
It did not get up that high. And you know what, though? It was worth it. Everything about that day was fun. There was good fellowship. It was good to see a lot of people. I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward. Like I feel energized. I don't want to say ready, because I don't think you're ever really ready when you're going into the position that I just went into. So I don't want to say ready, but I'm feeling confident, I would say.
Good planning does that.
Right. I'm feeling confident, and I feel like we got good things coming. So
I think it's going to be kick-ass here. And I got a text message from Grant last night, and sounds like you guys were out late. So he was like, I've been talking to my mom about the officer's line, and she's saying like this might be like the greatest next couple of years for Lake. And, I appreciate that confidence, but I kind of feel that way too, because we have a lot of energy and it's going to be fun.
Now, I had one of our younger and newer members to the line tell me last night that he felt that he joined Masonry at just the right time, and at this lodge at just the right time, almost like we've been building, or maybe have even at Lake kind of been in a little bit of a golden age for a few years now. We've had really strong officers for quite a while, newer young guys coming in behind these officers now. Everybody's got good ideas. We're trying to do different stuff. We're staying active. We're doing education. We're,
doing fun events. We're doing educational events.
Right. We have a lot of members to be proud of that
are working really hard
and just what they've been able to accomplish in Freemasonry. Like, we have a lot of members that we should be really proud of what they've managed to do.
I mean, that's why our installations are so emotional, is there's so much pride that we're taking because we are busting our butts. And it's nice because we're all in it together, and we're working for, our lodge and for, Masonry. And it's really cool. And honestly, I take immense pride in our lodge because I've said it before that, I kind of felt the same way as that young brother when I joined Lake, that I was like, had it maybe been a different lodge, if I might not have been as successful in Masonry, because my personality is really go, go, go. I need to be given the ability to work and to hustle, because when I get idle hands, I get antsy. And when I was coming into Lake, it was like by just chance that I came into the lodge that had the infrastructure that I needed to really explore my Masonic career and future, and it's been rad.
Right. No, I agree. I feel like since I've been here too, I just came in at the right time, and this lodge was able to give me what I need. And hopefully I am able to provide the lodge with what it needs over the next year.
What are you most proud of in the last ensuing year? And what's your biggest takeaway?
Why'd you ask it all weird like that?
Because I'm giving you your hard question back.
Yeah. Okay. So of 2023, we're talking, what was my proudest accomplishment?
Yeah, if you go outside of 2023, I'm going to hit a buzzer sound.
Okay. All right, that's fair. I would say, honestly, Masonically, I am most proud of the open house event that we were able to pull off. Just getting, the 3 York Rite bodies that meet here, Lake Lodge, Damascus, and Eastern Star, to all come together and work together and, put a little skin in the game to throw an open house that could potentially have benefited all of us or none of us, and to execute it at the level we did for the first year of the event, with the food coming out and pretty much having enough food, and the bouncy house for the kids, and just the amount of attendance, and the fact that a lot of these bodies got at least interest in membership, if not, gave out a petition or two that night. And, D. Malay and Job's daughters got some interest out of it because we invited them there as well. And I just think it was fun. Everybody worked, and it was successful. And for a first year event to be that successful, I can't help but not be proud of it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So
that reminds me, I got to email some people.
You do have to email some people because that's your committee now.
I have a lot of weight on my shoulders to make sure the event that you're so proud of keeps going well.
Yeah. And I don't see it not being successful in the future, and it's in capable hands. Depending, a lot of those people that worked on it this year from the other bodies might continue to work on it. And, if they do, you have some people with experience on how things went last year. We've set whoever is on that committee up for success after this year by already buying all those yard signs with the QR code on them, by buying aprons that were just basically like Masonic Center volunteer aprons, so they weren't aligned to a certain body, so anybody could use them. Cooking aprons, by the way, not Masonic aprons.
Always got to distinguish.
We know where to get a good bouncy castle from, and a company that was great to work with. We know roughly around what our budget should look like, but some of those line item expenses we had, you're not going to have, so you can do something else fun with that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I'm excited. I think it's a great event, and I think I like the ideas of events that benefit the entire building, all the groups, bodies, lodges within it. It's awesome.
I don't want to get preachy, but I know a lot of people have heard me talk either in one-on-one conversations or larger group conversations that I feel like unity and working together amongst the different Masonic organizations is very important. And I honestly think, I'm not saying you have to be a member of every organization you can be, right? I'm not saying that you should just join.
It's actually not recommended.
Right. That you should just join all of them. However, you do not need somebody from your Blue Lodge to be a member of OES to be able to do a joint venture something with them, right? So I think it's imperative that we start to work together and pool resources at times for the success of all of us and ultimately the success of Freemasonry in the future.
I agree. Amen. Preach.
Back to your question. Personal accomplishment that I would be proudest of. I think I've grown a lot as a parent over the last year, and I know I've made mistakes along the way, but figuring it out. And I'm proud of myself for being able to identify those mistakes and rectify them. Yeah, keep moving forward with that. Keep plugging along. It feels kind of weird. You get one, and you're like, man, I screwed up. Okay, I probably screwed up when I did that. Yep. She's saying the F word now. I should probably watch my language better. And in proper context, like, oh man. So yeah.
She's swearing really good.
So, stuff like that. And then it's like, man, it sucks because your first kid's kind of like the guinea pig, and you almost want like a second one so you can do it right.
Have you ever seen those things where they like compare like the firstborn versus secondborn versus thirdborn child?
Yep.
The firstborn's like, I love you, Dad. And the secondborn's like, I'm going to troll my dad and just like make it harder. And then the third one's just like, I don't care about anything. I'm the secondborn and I do troll my dad. Like if he's asking for help, I'm intentionally making it harder for fun. So I don't know if you necessarily want that second one.
Right. Well, but does that kind of proves my point? He taught you well. it backfired on him because now he's got to put up with it.
Yeah. I'm the opposite of helpful.
No, I would say I think that's my proudest personal accomplishment, but I'm just proud of everything. So many. My heart swells when I think about all the gentlemen that I know in this lodge and what this lodge has been able to accomplish and what the ability of us all to be as close as we are has meant for all of our personal lives and our own personal growth outside of, what we specifically have accomplished here. Pretty sure we could grab almost every brother and they would be able to talk about how a moment with another brother in this lodge somehow impacted their personal life at one point this year.
It's like dude therapy.
Yep. And, we are very close, and I think our close lies in that, or our strength lies in the closeness of that officer line.
Yeah, and we're a podcast about fellowship, and that's, one of the plugs for making sure you make time for fellowship is when you guys are bonded very closely on a personal level. I mean, we're all have to be bound by a Masonic level of like, hey, yeah, we got to get shit done.
Right.
But when you're bound outside of the work you do as true friends and two true brothers, where you feel like your brothers not just in title but in your hearts, it's powerful.
Yep. It very much so is. And while we're on a moment of being all emotional and touchy-feely and nice about stuff, I would have to say probably for both of us, even though neither of us said it, for both of us, I would have to say this podcast is probably one of our proudest accomplishments in this last year.
It seems surreal how we're on episode 14 when it feels like it was just a wink in our eye. We did talk about it for a while. I remember I came up with the name when I was at annual communication laying in my hotel room about to fall asleep. And I was like, yo, man, if we have a podcast, we should call it It's Fellowship Time or Time for Fellowship. And then you text back in the morning like, dude, I don't hate that. You're like,
I don't hate that. Yeah. That's such a weird response. Like, I don't hate it. I think we need to workshop it a little bit, but it's close.
Just right as I'm about to close my eyes at annual communication, like, this is the name, Dad.
Well, it made sense, and because fellowship has always been important to us, and Lake kind of has a culture that agrees that fellowship is important.
Work hard, play hard atmosphere.
Right. We've had so many great conversations over fellowship, and I think that was part of the name, part of the way the name was born too, was the fact that, when we were talking about the concept of this, we were talking about like, let's have the same type of style of conversation that we have at the pub where we just talk about stuff.
Yep, that inevitably devolves into us talking about masonry or babies or what, and it's not to be as in a rigid format, but just to be like, just two bros talking about bro stuff. Like I just want you guys to imagine, okay, you're sitting in a nice dive bar, and there's a lot of clitter clatter behind you. In the corner, there are two men in tuxedos for no reason, and everyone's looking at them weird and asking if they've been to a wedding. And then you have to awkwardly explain that you hadn't been to a wedding. And then they're just yucking it up, chatting and laughing, and then also having deep Masonic conversation. That's where we are right now.
Right. Yep.
That's the goal.
That is the goal. And
that's what I want you guys to imagine in your minds every time you listen to us in a podcast. We're not in a cement block that we talk in our trustee's office. We are in fellowship time.
Right. And we definitely are, just without the pint. But, these are, this is off topic, but I have to bring this up because I forgot about it. And part of the reason, you said the weird guy sitting in the corner in the tuxedos, and it made something click in my mind. At the after party for installation, I had one gentleman come up to me and introduce himself. He moved here in the last few years from California. He's raised a Mason out there. Hasn't been involved in the craft here at all. Was thinking about it, so I told him when he could come see us at Lodge for dinner. So
really? That happened?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I missed him.
Hopefully he'll show up. It was after you had left, since you had the other party to go to.
Double party.
And you left me on my own there at my own
You
installation.
were on your own. There were other brothers.
I know there was other brothers. But, and then later on in the night, I had a conversation that I was totally expecting to go a different direction than it did. I was cornered by a husband and wife who were sitting at the bar.
I know which ones they were. They talked to me too.
They talked to you too?
Mm-hmm.
Their opening line was, "We've watched like everything there is to watch about Freemasonry." And I was just like, uh-oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then it was a very positive conversation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
It was a super positive. They like had no nefarious thoughts of the fraternity. He actually ended up asking me like, "So how does it happen?" And I said, "Second Thursday a month at 6 p.m. we have dinner."
Yep.
But and I actually apologized to them partway through the conversation. I hadn't been rude or anything like that, but like I apologized because I felt like I may have come off a little defensive in the beginning.
A little guarded.
Yeah. And I was like, "I'm sorry. Usually when somebody opens with, 'We've watched everything there is to watch about Freemasonry,' this conversation goes a totally different direction."
Yeah, they're going to follow that up with, "Where do you hide the baby's blood?" Or
Right.
something. Like, oh my
Right,
God,
right.
it's going to be really hard.
Or, at the 33rd, you actually, it turns into something like that.
Did you know that Albert Pike said this?
Right.
Like, okay.
But like, no, it was a very positive interaction, and maybe he'll come see us and have dinner.
I mean, that's one thing that's nice is that even though that conversation at the pub is always really awkward when they're like, "Were you at a wedding?" And I'm like, "No, I was at lodge." And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, because then you never know how it's going to go. But it is nice because they see Masons out in the public and, we're looking spick and spat and looking nice.
Looking spiffy, having a good time, interacting with each other.
Just normal people.
Not going up to the bar and, ordering a pint of, blood.
Yeah. That's only for our vampire brothers.
We're not taking off our masks and revealing that we're lizard people.
Wait, don't tell them that. I've been keeping this mask super clean lately.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, and I think it's important for us to be out there and for people to recognize and be open about it when people ask us about it. Now obviously that conversation doesn't always go the way you want it, but hopefully you're able to have a civil conversation, or if the other person isn't willing to, just tell them that you're going to disengage and not have that conversation with them.
All right, bro, you do your thing. I'm going to do my thing. Have a good day.
Right. But yeah, so that was fun, and that goes to say something about the fact that we're out and enjoying that fellowship, that like people were able to notice and pick up on it.
Yeah, let's just to really like seal in this image that I'm trying to put in people's heads. We're just at fellowship. We should just invite a crazy conspiracy homeless person in here and just have them yell at us for a while. I feel like we'd have no regrets on that, right?
Right. Yeah. There's no possible way we would regret doing that. For
nothing bad would happen.
Oh man, where are you coming up with your ideas? Spray paint the dog red, bring in a crazy homeless conspiracy theorist person to just scream at us on our podcast.
I'm just full of good ideas.
Terrible ideas.
How do you know? Until you try it.
Those are rookie ideas. You gotta pump it up.
You're just thinking within the box. You got to start thinking outside the box.
If that's what outside the box is, I don't want to be there.
Can you imagine? We could do the red dog and the homeless person at the same time.
So I think I'm going to need a new junior warden. If anybody out there is willing to replace Andrew.
It's too late, dude. I've been elected. It's too late. You guys are stuck.
This is going to be a long year.
With me. People are probably listening to this episode just like, what is going on anymore?
Well, this is our year-end wrap-up. So what else do we want to talk about that happened?
Oh.
We went down like a crazy rabbit hole, and we did what we did with Dave. We were talking more about our bromance than anything else.
Hey, this is a one-on-one episode. We are having a bromance right now, so it's fine. No, we've been having a lot of like very like serious episodes lately, so it's nice to have a casual one where we just talk about spray paint dogs. You know what I mean? Like boys being boys.
Just whatever comes up, right? Nice little relaxing episode to end the year, chat about stuff. Hopefully, come back in the new year refreshed, and hopefully before the baby shows up, because I really want to get an episode when it's really close. to the baby showing up, and then one like shortly afterwards, because obviously we're not going to pull you away from your wife too soon.
Yeah, I don't want to die.
But like shortly afterwards, where you're like, I haven't slept in 3 days. Coffee's keeping me alive. I don't even know where I am right now.
Yeah, let's see. We're going to get some really good content.
It'll be fun to get that like pregame and postgame report.
Oh God, dude. I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, I guess, what else has gone on in this year, dude? We
did a lot of degree work.
We have a lot of good new candidates too.
We do.
One cool thing this year too is when our master was able to raise his son.
Yep.
With his uncle's assistance too.
Right.
So a lot of family
with his son's uncle's assistance, with his brother's assistance.
Yeah. Gotta love when we call each other brothers. We have to really distinguish.
Right. No, I love that those two actually started doing the whole brother thing.
You guys say it twice.
Cracks me up every time. Yeah.
He's my brother, but also my brother. And you're like, I don't know what's going on.
He's my brother.
This guy having a stroke? What are you talking about?
There is, you know what? Man, I had so many things. It was really hard to pick from. Like, I'm running through the list of like everything that was accomplished in like 2023. I mean, we had the Lafayette merger, and I made a point of calling all the Lafayette members and welcoming them to Lake.
Yep, which is awesome. I love all of our Lafayette brothers that are now Lake brothers.
Yep. Called all the widows, had a few people help me call all the members, did all those birthday cards all year. That was great. Got ready for this year. Just lots of stuff. I got that little side project, which I haven't really said anything about on here yet, where I got in all 15 of the 2024 Worshipful Masters for District 12 to agree to a meeting. So I just got to call the place this week. Yeah, Council of Masters. I love it.
And 12 rings were given to the District 12s.
I just, I think I have the location picked out. I got to call them this week and make sure they could support the group.
Cool.
And if we do, we have a date set, and hopefully most, if not all, will be able to make it. But they've all agreed to do it, which I think is a accomplishment in and of itself.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I kind of forgot about that. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think it'll be good to help make sure we're not competing with each other's events and talk about what everybody's plans and struggles are and stuff like that, and what's going well.
Well, and some event competition is just inevitable based on the limitations on a calendar. But it's nice if you could just if the opportunity provides, I mean, it's just to your benefit for attendance if people aren't, being, having to make a choice.
Right. And, it goes back to what I was talking about earlier, the whole unity thing and working together. Like, we're not in competition with each other. If the more we can work together and support each other, the more successful everybody's going to be. Yeah.
There's this weird thing where sometimes I feel like interlodge rivalry exists behind the scenes, which can be fun, but it has to be kept in a brotherly context because, at the end of the day, it's like you don't want to get in the mindset that you're competing for membership because that's not really a helpful thing. And I think that when lodges work together really hard, it just heightens the Masonic experience, which would increase interest in membership, which means that all benefit. And, we're all on the same team.
Well, and competing for membership numbers doesn't ever make any sense to me because you could bring a guy into your lodge that isn't a good fit for your lodge, with what your culture is and what he's kind of expecting to get. And there's Lodge B, which would be a better fit for him, but because you're trying to outcompete him, and get more new Master Masons raised that year or whatever, you're going to hang on to the guy, even though he would probably thrive better at this other lodge, which is why whenever we have a candidate show up and I'm talking to them and it's their first time visiting the lodge, I go, don't just visit us. Go visit a bunch of different lodges.
Yeah, I'll go so far as when I'm talking to them to be like, where do you live? And I'd be like, okay, in this area you have us, you have Damascus, and you have this other lodge.
Yep.
They all meet on different days. So consider that when you're kind of in this process of trying to petition the fraternity, consider what day works best for you. And I always use the same line. here's the deal, man. We're going to be interviewing you, but you're also interviewing us. And if you don't like hanging out with us, this is going to suck.
Right.
You need to find a lodge where you go visit and you go, these people I could be cool with hanging out with for a long time. And then you go, that's the only way you're going to be successful. And I always encourage petitioners to shop around because we're all on the same team. And I just would rather have a Mason in a lodge that they love than just in my lodge because I want to pump my numbers, which I don't think is necessary.
Agreed. What a surprise. We're going to close out the year agreeing again. Not that we're necessarily done with our little chit chat here. I'm not sure how long we've been running. Oh, we should probably be wrapping this chit chat up. Holy cow. This is going to be a long episode of nothing. So if you guys made it all the way through to the end, thank you.
You're super fans.
Yeah.
Hey, who knows? You guys might like this break, dude. We're just rambling about spray painting dogs, man. We're out here living on the edge.
You just got to keep talking about that, man. You're going to get...
It's going to resonate. It's going to work.
Get some hate from PETA. Maybe they'll get us more downloads.
Dude, their earmuffs are still on. They're better than still on. I swear to God, if they're not on, we're in so much trouble. Well, I mean, honestly, I think it's been a great year. I think we've got a lot to look forward in 2024 for Old Lang Syne, my dear, for Old Lang Syne. It's going to be a good time.
Indeed. Let's get into some news or go from
news
there.
Time.
Ooh, I'm up first this time, ain't I?
Yeah, all right.
You know, our casual podcast atmosphere made me almost forget all about news and events. So we have a sojourner's visit to a Daylight Lodge. The Milwaukee chapter, number 27 of the National Sojourners, made a visit to the new Daylight Lodge in Green Bay on November 9th to honor Masonic veterans. They presented the National Sojourner Build-A-Flag. Brother Lowell Scott, past Grandmaster Ken Gorgon, Brother Les Johnson, and President of the Milwaukee chapter, number 27, Brother Denny Cron, represented the Sojourners and were honored to present many of the veterans with the Vietnam commemorative pin. Chili and fellowship followed and that's just who's pictured there. So what do you got, Andrew?
Cool. Yeah, that's an awesome thing. More veteran support. Looks great.
Yeah.
The other news I wanted to present was Meals with Appeal Potato Dinner Fundraiser ended up happening. Brothers of Blue Hill Lodge, number 234. They held their first annual Meal with Appeal. It's a potato dinner fundraiser. The event was held on October 23rd at the Blue Hill Masonic Center as a fundraiser for the general operational needs and to fund future community activities. The evening was a major success. The lodge had a great turnout and all of their ladies were active in preparing and serving potatoes. The brothers served close to 200
Holy cow.
guests and were able to raise much needed funds for the lodge and for future activities. Man, that's a big event.
That's impressive. Good job.
Yeah, well done to the Brethren of Blue Hills Lodge. This is sounds like a fantastic event. I hope you guys keep it going. We should make a visit. The Brothers of Lodge are already looking ahead to 2024. Perfect. The annual event is going to be great for the Rice Lake community.
Awesome. No, that's super cool. Yeah, we might have to... No, if you want us to make an appearance at one of your events, you should probably send us an email about the fact that the event's going on.
Yeah, we'd love to come by.
Not just you guys, I mean everybody in general.
I like my meals with peels.
Right? I'll go crush a potato.
Cool.
Or 7.
All right, and on to events. We'll start us off with what's going on in December.
Well, nothing in December anymore.
January.
It's Christmas and New Year's, so...
Yep.
That's awesome, though. It's good December got wrapped up, and let's have some fun. So January 4th, Wauwatosa Lodge will be having their installation officers at 7 p.m. Also on January 4th, Wisconsin Lodge number 13 will have their installation officers at 6 p.m. On the 6th, South Shore number 3 will have their installation of officers at the Lake Masonic Center. January 8th, Hayes Lodge number 331 has their installation of officers at 7 p.m. Also on the 8th, Janesville Western Star Lodge number 55, installation officers at 6 p.m.
And we also have coming up on January 11th, Lake Lodge 49 doing our stated communications, but it's not just that. We're having a rusty nail degree. And if you don't know what a rusty nail degree is, this is kind of like a review of Masonic ritual and such. So if you have a brother who's been away for a while and would like to kind of, get back into the fraternity, this is a great opportunity to give him a quick recap. A nice little spin up, so it's a fun little ceremony. Even if you're a Mason who's been a Mason for a while and has been active, it's kind of cool to see one too.
Right. It's a unique script, and I don't think many people have seen it. There might be a special little something that Masons seem to obsess over.
Yeah, there might be something that attaches to your clothing. So dinner is at 6 p.m. I am cooking...
It's your Italian sausage sandwiches, isn't it?
Italian sausage sandwiches. Yeah, it's going to be really good. Cooking some sandies. We're going to have some melted provolone. Delicious. Dinner's at 6 p.m. And the Rusty Nail degree is at 7 p.m. So please come on down. On January, dear God, 13th, Damascus Lodge 290. It's a goal, having their installation of officers. And last but not least, on January 25th, Lake Lodge 99 is having their 22nd annual Robert Burns Table Lodge. Now, as we reminisce about the end of the year, I said Old Lang Syne, which is a Robert Burns poem that we sing on New Year's. It's about reminiscing on times gone by. So at this event, it's a great way that we honor that same brother, Robert Burns. It's going to be from 6 to 9 p.m. This is full of really cool ceremonial toasts. If you want to imagine that you've gone back in time to old masonry where we're doing toasts and cheers and poetry, this is the event for you. We're going to have some really good haggis and roast beef. Sometimes they say beast for funsies, but it's not a beast, it's roast beef. And it's going to be very tasty. The speaker is going to be past Grandmaster Paul Torville, who's going to be doing a little speaking. It's going to be $35 per person. Reminder, keep it in your head. Reservations are due by January 18th. We will not accept people after that date. So make sure you get those in. You can make out your checks to Robert Burns, and it's going to be sent to Lake Masonic Center, 1235 East Howard Ave.
Seating is limited for this one, so get your reservations in early.
This is my favorite event of the year, and I'd love to see you guys there.
Always. I would love to see a lot of people there. It's always so much fun.
Yeah, I have a blast. I look forward to it. I'm so excited.
It's open to EAs, FCs, or MMs. So if you have an EA or an FC that might be interested in checking it out, they're more than welcome.
Heck yeah. Bring your toasting cannons. Awesome. So
we're selling.
Yep. Actually, we have a bunch of swag to sell too, so keep your eyes out. Bring your pocketbooks. But yeah, good chatting with you.
That's it was nice.
Just want to keep, just make sure you keep mulling over that red dog idea and talk about it next week.
I already forgot about it. If you would have kept saying it, it would have never entered my head again.
Oh, but it's in there now. Anyways.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Ho, ho, ho. Goodbye. Till next time.